the Irish guy. Alright, so Premier League Gameweek 3. Let's see what happened then. And bear in mind, this is the weekend of meltdowns. And not just because Anthony Joshua desperately grabbed the microphone like Kirk Van Houten at a wedding. And also not because Kamara Usman is probably going to spend the next week picking earwax out of his brain. No, the entire of the Premier League weekend was nutty. Right, let's go. Newcastle 3, Manchester City 3. Newcastle United are immense. I'm sorry, but I can't talk about this match enough. Don't forget, this time last year, Newcastle couldn't buy a win under Steve Bruce. I mean, this time last year, their fitness levels were embarrassing. As if you immediately stuffed Piers Morgan on a treadmill at 3 a.m. He'd probably just try to jog whilst eating a slice of cake. But here, to be 3-1 up against Manchester City after an hour, Eddie Howe is building something special. Lads, when Ilkay Gundogan scruffed in the opening goal after 5 minutes, Newcastle fans could be forgiven for then choking on their slice of pie. Surely they're about to be destroyed by one of the best teams on planet Earth, right? No, I'm sorry, Newcastle were excellent. I mean, I'm guessing Kyle Walker probably spent the whole bus ride home quivering, you know, as if he just spent 3 hours locked in a fridge. Alan Saint-Maximin, how is this man not in the France squad? I mean, is it snobbery? Is it because Didier Deschamps looks like some posh old man who probably drinks champagne for tea and laughs at the poor? I mean, is he just too proud to ever jump on a plane to the northeast of England? Saint-Maximin must go to the World Cup with France. But I remember a few months ago when after City's title parade, when Jack Grealish, no doubt, having been up since 6 a.m. drinking vodka out of a Buzz Lightyear sippy cup, he then jokingly compared Bernardo Silva to Miguel Almiron. I mean, you can tell in Grealish's head that, you know, being compared to Almiron is basically like being told you've got the footballing technique of a punctured balloon. Well, Jack, what were you saying when Almiron scored Newcastle's opening goal? Okay, yeah, it bounced off his crotch and in, but still, I mean, do you know what that means? It means that Almiron, a guy who regularly goes entire calendar years without scoring, he still scored more Premier League goals than £100 million man Grealish has in 2022. So making fun of Miggy for having no end product is the equivalent of Johnny Vegas telling a homeless man that he stinks. I mean, I would imagine that Johnny constantly smells of stale cheeseburgers and rotten egg yolks. But honestly, what a performance from Newcastle to roar into a 3-1 lead. I mean, that was just Kieran Trippier's 9th Premier League match for the club, and it was already the 3rd free kick he'd stuffed into the net. What a footballer he is, and the fact that Manchester United did not sign him. I mean, his mentality, his professionalism, his ability on the ball, he would be the perfect captain for that club. But I mean, trust me lads, Newcastle United are on course to do big things. Leeds 3, Chelsea 0. I said that Leeds would get relegated. 2 weeks later, Leeds 3, Chelsea 0. I mean, Jesse Marsh, I thought you were just Bob Bradley with hair. Some American buffoon who'd get laughed at in the media. And you know, as if this was Adam Sandler being stuffed into a football dugout. I thought that without Marcelo Bielsa, this entire Leeds plan would unravel, and these footballers would now be exposed for just being stale cheese sandwich muck. Lad, the club just rejected a £20 million bid from Newcastle for Jack Harrison. I thought that without the guidance of Bielsa, that this fella would now just, be about as much use on a football pitch as, you know, getting into a boxing ring armed with nothing but a tube of shampoo. But no lad, he, like so many other Leeds players yesterday, he ran his socks off and was excellent. Lads, I know Leeds won an FA Cup match at Old Trafford while they were in League One, but if you want to talk about just purely home matches at Ellen Road, then this is surely the stadium's greatest day since they beat Manchester United 1-0 in September 2002. That was nearly 20 years ago. Lads, the last time Leeds beat Chelsea, James Milner was scoring, age 16 and with a face covered in acne. I mean, now he's a middle-aged man with a beard. But speaking of which, we know that Milner is a lifelong Leeds fan. So does he? Does he really want to retire, having played just 54 games for the club of his heart? I mean, his Liverpool contract is up next summer at the age of 37. James, don't do it. Don't be persuaded to stay at Anfield just because they've offered you a coaching role. I mean, considering this man is arguably the finest example of professionalism that the Premier League has ever seen, I mean, I'm pretty sure a football workaholic like you, someone who's been around for 20 years, and yet, I'm pretty sure I've never read any stories about you falling out of a nightclub, arm in arm with a stripper from Kent. I mean, I've never heard of this man being caught eating burgers on the bus. I mean, has anyone ever read about James Milner beating up old ladies on the tube? No, he's squeaky clean. He wouldn't walk into a coaching job. Although, to be fair, I also thought the same thing about Gareth Barry. But, I mean, then he was caught nicking taxis in Spain on tour with West Brom. I know, everyone just felt a bit disappointed. You know, a bit like when the high school principal catches the bookish teacher's pet taking a poo in the middle of the library. Well, either that or just smearing scrambled egg on the walls. But go on, James, go to Leeds next summer, squeeze in 2 seasons there, and retire as an Ellen Road legend. But as for Chelsea, hideous. That's all you can say for this Chelsea display. I talk about Kyle Walker having sleepless nights this week. Oh, no. Edouard Mendy does not deserve to sleep. As punishment, Thomas Tuchel should force him to spend every night this week sweeping the Stamford Bridge car park and just knitting jumpers for the squad. I mean, sure, just pointless busy work, yes. But honestly, Mendy, what? What were you doing? Can you offer any explanation? Because imagine if Kepa had made a mistake like that. Pretty sure Chelsea fans would be on the way to burning down his house. You are playing away at a frenetic Ellen Road. And yeah, you accept a back pass and then what? Try to nutmeg Brendan Aronson? Either that or just kick it off his shins? And Kalidou Koulibaly. Last week, he looked like a defensive monster against Tottenham. Here, he just looked a bit like a clumsy oaf. You know, as if he had the intelligence of one of the trolls off The Hobbit. Just dragging Leeds players to the ground. Honestly, after that, Chelsea are now probably going to storm Leicester's training ground like a furious bunch of Vikings, ready to just snatch Wesley Fofana and stuff him in the boot of their car. I mean, apparently, their plan B is to target Harry Maguire. I mean, their centre-back shortlist. Harry Maguire and Adam Webster. If I'm a Chelsea fan, reading those two names, digesting that, probably tastes like licking a frog. Crystal Palace 3, Aston Villa 1. Steven Gerrard must be terrified of the sack. You've lost 3-1 away at Crystal Palace, and you were gifted the first goal after 5 minutes, and still, you then were just torn apart by Wilfried Zaha. I mean, I know Leon Bailey hit the bar, but still, Villa, this was poor. As Villa boss, Gerrard has now won 11 games, drawn 5 games, lost 15. Win percentage of 35.5%. I mean, remember Gary Neville as Valencia boss? I mean, a laughable coach with the tactics of a waterlogged boot. Yeah, 10 wins, 7 draws, lost 11. A win percentage of 35.71%. That is better than Gerrard's. Gary Neville wasn't allowed to spend any money in the transfer market. Gerrard has forked out £75 million. Gary Neville couldn't even speak the language. And he's done better than Stevie G. Honestly, I hope that when the next time Jimmy Carragher laughs at Neville's Valencia stint on MNF, Neville gets up this comparison. I wonder if you're so quick to laugh at Stevie G. Am I the only one who expected better from Gerrard at Villa Park? I mean, this was the Rangers magician, right? And yet, the results he's had in this job, you could have told me these were the results of Dean Smith, and I would have believed it. Actually, no, I'm sorry, considering he's lost half his games in charge, I would have believed it if you told me this was the work of Steve Bruce. I'm sorry, I know he's a media darling and the heir to the Liverpool throne, but when do questions start getting asked of Stevie G? I know, sacking him now, when this man has been moulded and promised as being the future of Liverpool. I mean, this would be like taking Ned Stark's head off in season 1, right? But to me, Gerrard, he's not doing a good job. As for Palace though, absolutely brilliant. And Patrick Vieira, I'm convinced of it. This man will manage Arsenal one day. I mean, he has to. In the same way Milner has to play for Leeds again. I'm sorry, but he's proven to be a top-class coach who knows what he's doing. If he retires without ever having managed the Gunners at the Emirates, then something is seriously wrong. Vieira is levels above Gerrard. Leicester 1, Southampton 2. Wesley Fofana is an absolute disgrace. Am I going to be the only one to say it? This is a fellow who is point blank refusing to play matches for Leicester because his head's not in the right place. Well, unless it's now surgically attached to your hip, I'm pretty sure you're fine to play. I'm sorry, the ego on this boy. He's only 21. He's 21 years old. He was a near £40 million signing. I mean, he signed a 5-year contract and has played less than 40 league games for the club. For every Premier League match he has played, he has cost Leicester £920,000, and that's before even touching the wages. This guy recently signed an extension in March.
Speaking to LCFT, Fofana said, "I'm really happy to sign a new contract. It shows the club of confidence in me offering me a contract in 2027. I'm really happy to be here. It's my club. I love the fans. So I'm really happy and really looking forward to be back playing."
Anyone smell that? Smells like waffle. You know, a waffle is just being picked out of a cat litter box.
I love everything about the club. I love the city, I love the fans. It's a family, which is what I love the most. Everyone is close and gets on well. We also have a great team and are continuing to progress with a desire to win more trophies. That's why I've committed my future to the club until 2027. I want to achieve more with the club. There's a lot of talent here and still a lot more we can do together.
6 months. That was 6 months ago. And Fofana has played 9 times since then. 9 games into a fresh 5-year deal. The fact this man is refusing to play for the club because he so badly wants to join Chelsea. The complete lack of respect. There's a club who paid your wages while you rotted in the treatment room like a melting ice cream cone. And it gets worse. While sitting in the stands watching this game, looking like a moody teenager, he didn't even celebrate James Maddison's goal. Instead, head in his hands, looking like he'd rather be anywhere else. Even eating breakfast out of a urinal. He did not want to be there. So, I feel sorry for Brendan Rodgers, being forced to contend with such an egocentric brat. Although, can I say, Saint Etienne had a wonder kid centre-back pairing on their books in Wesley Fofana and William Saliba. You know, Will and Wes. I mean, sure, they pocketed a combined £57 million when they sold both of them to the Premier League, but lads, now both players are probably worth around £80 million each. So do you reckon that the San Etienne Chiefs are right now watching Match of the Day whilst chewing their own hand? But then again, are we really surprised that Fofana, clad in Gucci gear and swimming with arrogance, are we surprised he has this entitled air about him when he spent 4 years at Bel Air? I mean, in his own head, he's already the Fresh Prince of Chelsea. But so yeah, as for the game itself, I don't blame Leicester for starting the season so poorly when they've got this toxic, poisonous cloud in their dressing room. I mean, it's like dragging your wife to a cinema, only for her to spend the entire film sulking in her seat, texting her mates, scratching her armpits, and just angrily throwing popcorn at the screen. Do you really think you're then gonna enjoy? Nope. Bournemouth 0, Arsenal 3. Arsenal are class. Can I just remind you now, I am the only one to predict Arsenal to finish 3rd in the league. All summer long, I've been listening to people on the internet screaming that the Gunners are not on Tottenham's level. Okay, bit of a pop quiz. Hands up, who out there now thinks that Tottenham are the better team? Anyone? Anyone at all? This Arsenal team is brilliant. Right now, arguably the most fluid, in rhythm team in the league. And I must say, Alexander Zinchenko, one hell of a sign. How underrated is he? Don't forget, during the month of June, this man looked destined for Everton. Oh, how miserable would that have been? This is what a footballer looks like after they spent 6 years of being molded and sculpted by Pep Guardiola. I mean, right now, he's the complete player. And William Saliba. For months, this guy looked like he was on the verge of being dumped by Arsenal. I mean, I wouldn't have batted an eyelid if he was sold this summer to Nice. I mean, Mikel Arteta did not look like he liked him at all. But no, Saliba is back from the cold, and what a player he looks. Although, I would imagine that Ben White, who right now is being stuffed out to right back, oh, he must be feeling pretty insecure, you know, like KSI without the bandana on his head. If Takiro Tamayasu gets back in the team, then White is a £50 million sub-centre back and dangerously close to Callum Chambers territory. If I was Ben, I'd be scared. I mean, don't be surprised to see him now undermine Saliba in private. I mean, maybe in the morning when Willie was in the bathroom, he might just spit in his bowl of Frosties. I mean, maybe he's gonna break into his locker and stuff a rotting salmon in his socks. I mean, he might be driven so demented that to the point where he's now slashing his tires and emailing him PDFs of strangled cats. Anything to put him off his game. West Ham 0, Brighton 2. I said Brighton would go down. Great. What I will say though is that Declan Rice is the wettest captain I've ever seen. I mean, the proof is in the pudding. This man was given the captain's armband in the summer. So far, he's had the impact of a soggy sausage roll. This guy's already shown that his loyalty is about as thick as a pig's earlobe. I mean, chucking his Ireland caps in a bin. He's already shown he's got the maturity of a 9-year-old boy. You know, picking up a UEFA ban for just accusing a top-tier ref of match fixing. This is a man who wants to become the England captain. Well, so far, at West Ham, 3 games played, 0 goals scored, you've missed a penalty, and you're bottom of the Premier League. I would imagine listening to a team talk from someone who looks like he belongs on a set of Holly Oaks. Does anyone think he's a leader? I would be more inspired listening to Craig Dawson making noises with his armpit. Rice is not a captain, no way. Next summer, this man is going to have gone all Wesley Fofana and will be screaming for a switch to Chelsea too. Everton 1, Nottingham Forest 1. Everton versus Nottingham Forest. In a weird way, this is a battle between 2 teams squabbling for Neil Maupay's heart. Andy, the Frenchman's probably watching this game on the telly, seeing 2 massive football clubs fighting over him. I mean, this must be what Brad Pitt felt when he saw Rachel off Friends beat up Laura Croft on the set of Mr. and Mrs. Smith, you know, and she shoved a purse down her throat. Okay, that might not have happened. But listen, Everton were 2 minutes away from disaster. After losing the first 2 matches, can you imagine if the Toffees were beaten at home by newly promoted Nottingham Forest? Frank Lampard right now would be the favourite for the sack. But yeah, when Jordan Pickford launched that cake for Demarai Gray to run onto and squeeze past Dean Henderson, Lampard must nearly fainted with relief. Fulham 3, Brighton 2. What a game. Simply put, what a match! Alexander Mitrovic, a game in which he missed chance after chance and then finally steals it at the death. But honestly, what a game. What a London derby. Ridiculous. Tottenham 1, Wolves 0. Dead match. 1-0, Harry Kane winner. Boring game. Trust me lads, Tottenham under Conte are not as good as you think.